Hi guys. Thought I'd share something a little different with y'all. I plan on posting this probably Friday sometime, but Friday will be 19 years since the day I got saved, me and my wife both. And this isn't a lesson for the week, but I just wanted to share my testimony. I always put it on social media. But I consider it it's my spiritual birthday. So every year on July 17th, I always share something about that day. And I just want to share with you real quick my testimony. I try not to ramble like I'm doing right now. But some of you already know it, but growing up, I grew up in a Christian home. My dad was a pastor, still is, pastor of a little country church there in right outside, in between Higginson and Griffithville, a little town called Walker. And when I talk about Walker, that is you think about towns, you blank and you miss it. That's literally it. I mean, it's just one little stretch of road. You go around a curve, you're past Walker. That's how big it is. It just, if you blink, you will miss it. But he's pastored that church since I was a young kid. And he's pastored other churches before that too, but he's been there the longest. But, I grew up in church. All of us did. And I even made a profession of faith when I was 9. And at the time I thought it was real. Looking back on it, I know I just did it to kind of make my parents happy, because my sister had gotten saved and they were all excited about that. I said, I want my parents all excited about me too. Or they'd see kids at like Vacation Bible School get saved and they get excited about that. And, I wanted that too. So, I told Mom, I crawled up in bed with my mom and dad, told them I want to get saved. They led me through the prayer, and Dad baptized me and my brother both, in fact. And they baptized us and all that good stuff. But nothing changed. Like I said, it wasn't real. Sorry, I'm sweating. It's all up here. It wasn't real. I thought it was. I thought, just saying that little prayer with my mom and dad was enough. But the older I got, the more I noticed something missing. And I didn't know what it was. And I didn't know what was missing. I went to church and with my parents, obviously. They drugged me there, kicking and screaming. And honestly, I like going to church, but mostly I went because I'd hang out with my friends or people like that. So, but I never went for the right reasons. So, nothing really changed in my life. Then, as I got older, one thing I noticed about myself, I didn't notice till later on. When I'm thinking back on it, I remember, and a lot of it, and I mentioned this in our last Sunday school lesson. The thing I noticed was about me back then, when I would see people that I knew were Christians really living their lives for Christ, and kids in my school. I used to think that was kind of odd. I used to think, it's cool. It's cool. I thought it was cool if they loved Jesus, but I was like, do they have to be so dramatic about it? That was my thought process. Why they got to be so dramatic? Why they got to wear like Jesus on their t-shirts to school? It's just kind of weird. Then one day, make a long story short, I was in my 20s, and I was 22 at the time. My daughter Skylar was about 8 weeks from being born, and me and Angela and I were living in Cabot at the time, and my mom called me. I was off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I would go to church when I could, but it wasn't very much. I would go once in a blue moon, and mostly it was because when my mom would call me and ask me if I went to church, I didn't want to lie to her and say yeah, I went to church when, no, I didn't. So I'd go as often as I could, which honestly wasn't much. I hate to say. But then I would start to feel bad for not going. And mom called me. I was off, like I said, I was off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. She called me on a Monday afternoon before I went to work. I was working like 1 to 10. She called me, or that morning actually, around 10 or 11, and said, I know you work tonight, but tomorrow night, would you mind going to a crusade held by Brady Weldon there in Searcy at the fairgrounds? And I was like, sure, I'll go. I didn't mind. It was Tuesday and Wednesday, I was off. Plus, simply she offered to take me out to dinner before. Of course, I'm not gonna give up free food. But I went, and I'll be honest, through the first little bit of it, I was getting really uncomfortable because I was thinking, what's this guy talking about? He doesn't know me. Who's he to tell me I'm lost? And but then the more I stayed, I listened, and the more I listened, I could feel. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was the Holy Spirit talking to me, telling me I need to get saved. By the end of the night, myself, my wife, and my little brother, we all got saved. And has life been perfect since then? No. I struggle with stuff. You're going to struggle with stuff. But I tell you what, people who live out their lives for Christ, I don't think they're weird anymore. I think they're awesome. And I encourage y'all to do that. And what I wanted to share with y'all is this kind of become my life verse over the last few years. But 1 Corinthians 1:18 says, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us which are saved, it is the power of God. Those people you see living their lives out for Christ, if you're living your life out for Christ, that's the power of God. It's going to seem weird to people that don't know Jesus, and that's why it seems weird to them. They don't have Jesus. They don't have the Holy Spirit living in them. But it's not strange. It's the power of God living through you. Love you guys. See you soon.